Hi, welcome. My name is Dale McCluskey, and I'd like to take a couple minutes to discuss the reasons why I don't use commands. This is something that really goes deep into understanding the interplay of the dog and human connection, the shared connection, just beyond body language. Dogs really do get a sense of where your mind is going. Not just that, but the framework of your psychology, what it's built on, whether it's more the friend or the parent, and so it's really, and it also goes to the heart of what our goals are, what the intent is with how we're changing out the foundation stones of the relationship itself. When you use verbal commands, what those are based on currently too, and also changing out the perception issue so that the verbal commands come through strength instead of weakness. So the command side of this is something that, with with understanding how, how to get the dog to listen better. But beyond that too, it also aligns with and goes into the whole issue about learning theory itself, which I talk a lot about with, what our approach is or how we're going to impact the dog's decision making at the unwanted behavior level. So what I show here is, so if a trainer comes in and starts to, or if you begin to try to impact the dog's decision making level, the whole issue about starting with learning or starting to use these commands and start to use a motivating agent, the problem with that is it may not impact the dog's decision making at the parent level. It may not help at all if the framework, if the nails aren't being replaced, the weak nails of this connection aren't being replaced with strong ones through the whole, through mind and body. And this is what my whole system's based on, is mind and body. So what I work off of is the unspoken language of nature. I work off this connection. So when you begin to understand, when you begin to, even before you move the leash, the dog is getting a sense of what the end game is, where the mind is going. So when you get the interplay of the reaction of the dog's mind, and especially when you go into the whole issue of a dog going into a challenged state, you have to, that's significant. That's just not some sort of a fluke or coincidence when a dog is reacting to the dog owner putting meaningful influence over the mind. It also goes to this whole issue of, and this is what a lot of trainers will say, well, the dog is reacting, because they don't understand what you're doing. And this is a real tough thing. I mean, I really encourage you to really step back here, because this really goes to the core of it even goes into this whole issue about learning and our goals and intent here. People will say, well, the dog doesn't understand. So if you're starting to push on the dog's back before you even say anything, the dog's resisting because they don't know what you're doing. What I say is completely opposite. Oh no, absolutely, the dog knows what you're doing, what the intent is, but the difference here is coming directly through the strength of the role. You're working off connection. The dog knows what you're doing. They know the intent, where the mind's going. When the dog's challenging it, it's because exactly that. It's coming through a parent now instead of the whole friend or weakness. Okay, this is where, when you see it, because you'll see this play out. Now, you'll see the interplay if you're a trainer, if you notice with your dog, because you can test this. When you are, for example, is when you start to put meaningful influence over a dog's mind, say you're working off the sit position, and suddenly the dog drops or goes into a down position, okay, on their own, without you doing anything. They're just dropping down. Now, you might just allow that to happen, okay, but the next time your dog's sitting beside you within this same interaction, take your hand, start to push on the back, and so that you're moving, you're the one leading the mind, you're the one putting influence over the mind, and see what happens then. I guarantee your dog's going to resist it. Okay, now step back and think about that interplay. And beyond that, okay, take a food treat and start to use that as a way to motivate, a way to put influence over the mind. The dog's focused on the food treat, and start to use that. Put it in your hand and start to bring your hand down to the ground. So your dog will the body will drop. Start to go. Use that as a way to get the dog to go into the down position. But halfway there, take the food treat, throw it away. Okay, throw it to the side. Take a hold of your dog's collar and continue to push on the back. See what happens. Okay, the dog's going to go into a challenged state. Okay, because now again it's coming through strength. Now this is the whole thing here. Now this is going to really challenge people, but understand that this is the whole thing about these ideas, and start to understand is how this connection, how this interplay is happening. What is the awareness level? When the dog really knows that you're asserting meaningful influence over the dog's mind, you're going to see a huge difference in how the dog's mind reacts to that. And so when you start to understand how dogs connect dots, how the mind pivots, you'll start to become clearer why you don't use commands initially. Why I don't use commands initially. But I will begin to hook them on after the foundation starts to get changed out. Because then, see, the difference is now coming through strength. Now the verbal command is now coming through the lead role. The verbal and the physical are connected. Okay, it's the whole. It's through connection. Nature represents that. So therefore, when you say come, the dog's going to come in. Not because they are thinking they're going to get something for it, the petting or praise or food or whatever. Because oftentimes that's just like permissive parenting. The dog owner is going to be objectified at a certain level. We're removing that. The dog's coming in not because the dog fears and this is the other ridiculous thing a lot of trainers say, well, the dog fears the people that use certain verbal language and use certain words to color things up are totally misrepresenting the interplay, misrepresenting the relationship. They're almost making it sound as though in order to create parental influence, you got to take your child and throw them up against the wall. Okay, I mean that's abuse. That's ridiculous. This is not what I'm talking about. Okay, this is strength, and nature's based on that strength and weakness. But it's the interplay of that connection. So when you think about what the real goal here is, what the end game is. That's why so many trainers are totally out to lunch. I mean, they don't even know what the end game is. They're running around pylons. They're going through the motions. It's just appearance-driven smoke and mirror stuff with this whole idea about learning, and they're not testing it. So when I developed this system, I went right to the core of it and said, what is the goal here? How do we change out the foundation stones? How is the dog's decision making impacted at the unwanted behavior level? Because that is the test, that's the standard. I clearly show that when the unwanted behavior issues remain, role change hasn't happened at the level needed. The dog's decision making hasn't been impacted at that nature level. So when you see me using the leash, when you see me when you see the interplay happening, understand there's a lot more happening than meets the eye. In fact, what you see can be very deceptive. I'm going deeper, and that's what the system's built on. So anyway, just something to think about this whole command issue, this whole idea about learning itself and about nature itself and about connection. And so when you assume, you think about, well, my dog seems to know what I'm doing, or even before I do it. There's truth in that. They actually do. And so it's all about connecting dots, how a dog's mind pivots off this connection. So anyway, thanks very much for watching. I hope this video is insightful. I hope you have a great day.